So you may have heard that the government has confirmed that there will be an additional bank holiday for June 2022 to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, which is great news. Great news for employees, extra day off work, loads of celebrations hopefully, which is just what we need, given that 2020, let's face it, has been a pretty awful year. And I very much doubt that 2021 will be that much better. So come 2022, extra day off, celebrations, street parties, you name it. And, probably going to be really up for that by then. But for employers, it's not such great news. And some employers are going to be thinking that's a cost to them, a cost that they can't bear right now. And they're going to be looking at whether or not they actually have to give that day off with pay to their staff. So that's the question that we're dealing with today. Now, just quickly and briefly before we do that, just a quick reminder here that the information given in this video is of a general nature, and employers should always seek specific legal advice about the issue that they are dealing with. Today's question then: do we have to give staff an extra bank holiday day off in 2022 for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee? Great question. One that we dealt with a few years ago, if you remember, the royal wedding of Prince William and Kate, extra days bank holiday, threw us into a little bit of a tailspin. And most employers hopefully have addressed that and have learned from that experience, but some won't have, and some are new employers. So we're going to be dealing with this today. And the answer to the question, unfortunately, is it depends. It depends on the wording of the contract of employment that is issued to your staff. There is the debate here also, the legal position versus the moral position. And that's something that you're going to have to consider, and we'll take a brief look at over this video. So we'll look at the legal position first, and this comes from the Working Time Regulations 1998, in which it states that employees are entitled to 5.6 weeks off for annual leave, which is 28 days. It's capped at 28 days. And the entitlement in law, that 28 days, includes bank holidays. Now, bank holidays don't have the same legal definition that they used to. We now talk about them as being public holidays. But for the purpose of this video, we'll call them bank holidays, because that's what people are interested in, and that's what people are talking about, and that's the language that's being used in the media. So looking at your contracts of employment then, there will be some wording around the entitlement to time off a holiday for annual leave. And the wording might vary in different contracts. Now, if your contracts are worded such as in this first example here, 28 days or more inclusive of bank holidays, and doesn't state how many days bank holidays refers to, then that's a big green tick for your contract, because it means in law and in contract, you don't have to give that extra day off. Your annual leave for your employees won't increase to 29 days. Because under the Working Time Regulations, unless the government puts a temporary amendment through, there is no entitlement to more than 28 days. And your contract states 28 days is inclusive of any bank holidays. So that's fine. If your contract states 28 days or more inclusive of normal or 8 bank holidays, then the additional bank holiday day will be extra. So you will have to give that extra day off with pay. Equally, if your contract stays 20 days or more plus bank holidays, doesn't matter how many bank holidays are always extra. So again, if there is obviously confirmation that the extra day will be given in June 2022, you will have to give your staff that day off with pay. Now, I'm going to come back to that big green tick, because as I said earlier, there is also a moral dilemma, and we'll just have a quick look at what that looks like as well. So people are being told that they are going to be given a 4-day weekend in June 2022, so that the whole country can come together to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And that's a really exciting time. And for some people, it's a matter of huge importance, whether they're patriotic or whether it's just time off with family, whether it's after 2 years of, a lot of disruption, a lot of hardship, a weekend of celebration, whatever that looks like is going to be, for some people, for a lot of people, important. So the extra days bank holiday is to recognise a significant event, and obviously that is our monarch reaching 70 years service. Can you imagine 70 years service? In business, it's practically unheard of. How many business leaders do you know who have accrued 70 years service and are still on the front line in their business in their 90s and performing an extraordinary role? Our monarch, the Queen, will have achieved 70 years service in that role. And that's pretty incredible. We can't get away from that fact. And people are going to want to celebrate that. Some people are patriotic, others it's just down to, taking time off or whatever. So don't underestimate what people think and feel about that extra day's bank holiday. So you may not be obliged to give that extra day off, and that's fine if your contract is worded in such a way that you don't have to. Perhaps that's your choice, and you won't give that time off. For some businesses, they may not be able to give that time off. Maybe the business is in the hospitality industry, transport, or healthcare. So some businesses cannot just give everybody an extra day off and a 4-day weekend. Again, depending on the wording of the contract, it may be that you give that day off in lieu, so they still get their 29 days and are not disadvantaged by the fact that they can't take the day off. But in other businesses, you can give the time off, and perhaps should. So let's just think about that. Even if you contractually don't have to, maybe you should anyway. Your staff are going to expect it. Yeah, they're going to be thinking, I'm going to get an extra day's holiday. I'm going to get a 4-day weekend to celebrate with my family, with my neighbours, with my friends, whatever. And if you decide that you're not going to give it to them, and you wave that big contract in front of their face and say, we don't have to, they're going to feel pretty annoyed. They're going to feel pretty let down, pretty upset. And it's going to feel like you've taken something away from them rather than it being an entitlement for them to receive, because they won't understand that. They won't see that side of it. So you're going to have to be pretty clear about your reasons why. And you're going to need to probably justify that quite well. If you don't, then ultimately, those negative feelings could have an impact on performance and certainly employee engagement. And that's something that you really need to take quite seriously. So maybe, if you're not going to give them the time off, either because you choose not to or because you can't, maybe there's another way around this. Maybe we can avoid giving the extra day off without having that disruptive feeling and all the negative things associated with that. Could you potentially recognise the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in another way, in a way that helps staff to still feel valued by you and rewarded by the fact that there is this extra day off? Maybe, as an example, you could allow staff to go home early rather than have the day off. Or maybe you could arrange a celebratory lunch if they can't join the celebrations out in the street parties. Maybe you could put up a bit of bunting, or get the staff themselves to decorate the office or the canteen area. And maybe everyone can bring a little bit of food in and have your own little celebration. Perhaps that might go a long way, at least then they don't feel that they can't participate in the country's celebrations. And of course, as I said, if you have an organisation that cannot give the time off because of the nature of the work, then maybe give that time off in lieu and allow people to take an extra day off when it suits them and when it suits the business. We'll see. So there we are. There's some information there about the extra days bank holiday and whether or not you should or could give that day off to your staff. If you need more information from me about that, if you want me to take a look at your contracts or whatever, just to check the wording to see what your legal position is and talk through your moral position, then contact me on the hello@contracthrm.co.uk email address, or via my Facebook page, or via the web page. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.